Hi, everyone. Welcome to this special Women's History Month live stream. I'm Amber, the range doula and founder and owner of Gale's Futuristic Fire. Today, I have a very special guest, Jessica Hazelaar, the CEO of Eclipse Holsters. We're talking about women in the firearms industry, self-defense, and what it means to be a female founder in a male-dominated space. And to celebrate Women's History Month, we're hosting a giveaway. Winners will receive a custom holster and magazine pouch sent from Eclipse Holsters. To enter, like, comment, and share the original event flyer on Instagram or this live. We'll choose the winners based on those usernames, so be sure to participate. If you're watching on Instagram, be sure to head over to my YouTube channel at TheAmberGJ to subscribe and to have the best experience. And don't forget to drop your questions in the chat. Let's get into it. Hi, how are you? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you. Perfect.
Great.
Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Well, it's felt like a Monday all day. And our technical difficulties that we just had getting this set up is it's exactly what it feels like to run a business.
Yes, it's very Monday coded, but we breeze through it.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a good day.
Yes, absolutely. So could you introduce yourself and the start of your journey in the firearms industry for me?
Sure, yeah. I'm Jessica Hazelaar. Started Eclipse Holsters 12 years ago. This month is our birthday month. And honestly, it was by accident. Solving a problem for myself. I was very unfamiliar with firearms and didn't know a whole lot about it. My husband had spent most of his life with guns and around them, and our kids were getting older. So I just wanted him to teach me how to keep a gun safe if I had to approach it, with him gone and our kids in the home. And I was not prepared for how much I was actually going to love shooting a gun. So I fell in love with it. And then he bought me my first gun, which was the M&P Shield. And there was no holsters on the market for it. And that is how Eclipse Holsters started. I searched for a holster online, and it took me quite a while to find somebody who said, okay, I'll make you one. But he said it would take 4 months. So I ordered it and very, very impatiently waited. I think I probably got through about a week or so. And then I said to my husband, like, why does it take 4 months to make a holster? How do you make a holster? And then I went to YouTube and searched, how do you make a holster? And I figured I could probably do this. And so I spent $1,000 on everything I needed to make a holster, canceled my order. And that's how it started, in the basement, making one for myself and then taking it to the range and other people seeing it. And I really knew nothing about anything that I was doing. I had an M&P Shield, but I thought every gun was a Glock. The learning curve has been gigantic. But 12 years later, here we are. So my husband's got to completely, walk away from his job. We actually own 3 companies now, all in the firearms industry. We have a huge supply company, and we absolutely love what we do.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah.
It just shows just like how inspired you were to start something, even though you had, very little information about what it took to start a holster company. Sometimes it just takes irritation to really do what needs to be done. Yeah.
Yeah, I think looking back, if I knew what it took to actually grow a company, no, I would never have wanted to do it. But I did not know. I didn't know what I didn't know. And every chapter has been, there's always something new to learn. But the growth that we've had, and honestly, it's really a fun industry to be part of. And I set out to make sure, first of all, I would never take 4 months to make a holster, because that gives enough time for somebody to make a business. Yeah. And secondly, how do we be the fastest with the best customer service and give people something different than everything else that's out there? And we get to do that. So.
Oh, that is beautiful. And
Yeah.
especially as a woman in this industry, when we talk about the challenges that you face and how you've overcome them, it's, from the outside looking in, it just looks like, oh, I bought the stuff and then I started. But
Mhm.
like, let's get into the details on that. Like, what's your number
Um,
one story?
well, everything I feel like I've learned and I've had to, it feels like I did it the hard way, but probably the hard way is the way it actually sticks. So,
Mm,
when I first started making holsters, there were no belt attachments on the market that were actually made. And so I was taking strips of Kydex, heating them, and actually forming that into a belt loop. Everything took such a long time. I was heating in a toaster oven and very intimidated. I felt very much like I was totally an imposter in a world where I did not belong. It was terrifying, honestly. Every bad review and every bit of feedback that I got, it crippled me for a while. I can remember the first time I made a holster and the guy told me it scratched his gun. I think I wanted to quit for about 5 straight days. I didn't even know how to respond in an email. And then I realized actually plastic can't scratch a gun, and I got over it. But yeah, just every little part has been hard. To earn where I felt like I had a place in this industry. When I was first making holsters, and then I wanted to be chatty and hey, let's all, talk. You don't. Nobody shares any information. It's a stealing a secret, even though
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
makes a holster the same. And then I felt like I probably didn't, belong. That was more in my head. I think it was more in my head than it really was in the industry. I don't know, but I think we all face things like that in our own lives, of being scared or intimidated, but of what actually isn't being spoken. And so, here I am. I've worked through it in a lot of ways. There's a lot of space in the gun industry for men and women, and it's really grown into something to where I see more influential women than ever, in this arena. And if you get in there at the base level, we all just want to, stay safe, be with our families, and it's a lot of fun to shoot guns.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially with safety in mind.
Yes.
And you mentioned, the perception of women in the firearms industry, especially as you have been able to shape the holster industry as it is evolved from, leather holsters or no holster at all to belt clips and ulti clips, being a pivotal part of that moment in history. How do you think the perception of women in the firearms industry has evolved over the years, especially with your ingenuitive spirit?
Well, I have been in the evolution of it for sure. When I first started making holsters and publicly talking about them, I would even receive phone calls and they would say, "Can I please talk to the owner?" And they would assume that should be my husband or somebody, like, surely you're not the one actually making holsters. And I actually went through that for several years. And then I would look at my Instagram and I'm thinking, like, if you're going to be a gun bunny, you're not wearing NASA t-shirts and leggings everywhere. So obviously I wasn't the gun bunny, but people couldn't wrap their heads around how a woman would be answering the phone and talking about a holster. So I think we've come a long ways in the last 12 years. And then the exciting part is, I think for a very long time, it had to be black and brown. And everybody, it was these rules about what the gun people should look like. And man, have we just blown the ceiling off of that. So when probably my first 2 or 3 years, I just immediately thought black and brown were so boring. And I thought there's got to be more. So Kydex actually comes in any color you could possibly want. And then one day a company started doing infusion or sublimation into the Kydex. And I said, well, why can't we put flowers on holsters? And I'm telling you, we changed the industry, because you can now put anything on a holster. And I said, can we put stars on a holster? Can we put a galaxy? Will people like it? And people have proven that they like it, just like they like colored socks and pretty underwear. Nobody's going to see your holster, but you know what? It makes you feel good. And it can, and it should. I mean, it's a piece that you're investing a lot of money in. At least if you're going to wear it every day or you're going to have it around you, why can't it look great? So I would say that, and then the Ulti-Clip, you mentioned the Ulti-Clip. That was a major change in the industry, I think, because before the Ulti-Clip, nobody could wear a holster that didn't, if you didn't wear a belt. So for women, it was like, oh, well, now I can wear my comfy pants, or like so many women do not wear a thick gun belt and jeans all the time. And,
Right.
and I say women, but the amount of men who also do the same thing. So it's not just for a woman, but these little things that have happened in the industry have been so exciting. I have always felt like it cannot be a tunnel and there's not always solid rules. So on social media, of course, people love to just make a comment and bash you for whatever reason. If you're oh, you should never wear in a purse, you should never this, or you should never that. I don't think that there should ever be nevers, because some people have had scars across their lower abdomen. They cannot put a holster on, but you know what you can do? You put it in a concealed carry belt bag. So take all the rules away besides gun safety and, you know, the rules that we all honor. But outside of that, what can we do? How do we make it to where it could be in your life? Could you still have a gun with you and your kids and not be wearing jeans? Yes, you can.
No, I definitely thank you for touching a bit on like the common misconceptions about women carrying concealed, because it can be assumed that, you know, if they're, since a lot of the beginner products on the market were made for men, it could be assumed that if it's not fitting for the female body type, then we are carrying in ways that are being highly disagreed with by
That's right.
Sales professional.
Yeah.
So I thank you for bringing up those comments about, especially like the abdomen carry and the different surgeries that people might experience that hinder them from being able to carry appendix, which is why holsters like yours, and where you could be able to attach them on various other accessories in the concealed carry space, are definitely needed. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, they are needed. And, you know, I think I've told my team recently, we need to get a female who's pregnant to be part of our page, because we get so many questions from women who are pregnant and they say, what are my options for carrying? Because you don't even have a normal waistband. Well, what are you going to do? Not carry for 9 months? Or, you know, is that there should be other options other than you can't. And so then the comfort concealment belt has come out and has just totally transformed the way people carry, because now you have a waist that you can put at any height on your body.
Yeah.
The DCC monoblock is one of my other favorite attachments, because it can be worn with or without a belt and it functions so perfectly. So I'm just thrilled to be part of the industry now and having so many things available, whereas I was making my own belt loops 12 years ago. So, I mean, I feel like we've come way out of the Stone Age and into this really exciting time where men and women are equally supporting each other in this.
Yes. So speaking of concealed carry, what advice do you have for women who want to start carrying but feel intimidated?
Well, I agree. It is very intimidating. Here's what I did. I remember I talked about carrying for months, and my husband kept warming me up and just really, you know, helping me get brave to do it. And so I decided to take a gun out in a holster to 7-Eleven, or like, I guess it was a CVS. I'm going to go to CVS, walk around and come back. I'm telling you, it felt like I had 50 pounds on my hip. I thought everybody could like see it, and I walked around funny, and I was so uncomfortable because I thought everybody could see it. So then I came back, and I think I even got sweaty, but he wasn't making me do this. We were talking out what are some ideas to get me comfortable, and that was one of the things I did. And then I just did that a few more times before I started to realize, oh, it's part of my body. I'm seeing how it moves on me. I'm also totally okay not wearing a gun all day. Like, what works for you and what can you control? And do you really, really want to do it? Because I think a lot of husbands or men are very supportive, but maybe it's like a little pressuring. And so I just took it in baby steps. I also had the opportunity to touch a lot of different guns before I found the one that I felt like was the right one for me. And I would say that's for sure another tip. Like, go into a gun store and you could pick out, take the top 7, concealed carry guns from 2024. And then go touch them all and put them in your hands and hold them and see what feels right to you.
The rentals.
Yeah. So there's lots of little things. I think taking classes are so helpful and wonderful, just to get around other people. And you'll see that you're not the only one who's intimidated. You're not the only one who is a little bit uncomfortable, but you'll find ways to work into it. So, yeah, I mean, now I've worked around them so much that I feel totally a different level of comfort, but I would say no pressure. Start at what feels right to you. And maybe it's when you're not with your kids, or, whatever the scenario is, give yourself 20 minutes and then the next day do it for 25 minutes or something. And your level of being comfortable with it is not balanced against anybody else's. This is such a personal and unique thing for each person. And there's so many other ways to protect yourself that don't ever involve a gun. If you're just don't even want to do that, there's so many other tips that you could take in and to just be more aware.
Yes, absolutely. Especially on the non-lethal options.
Oh yeah.
We automatically jump to owning a firearm, not realizing that it is truly a responsibility. Mm-hmm. And we're not properly coached and guided into what that lifestyle looks like, with the different decisions and transportation changes that we have during our day.
That's right. Yeah.
The responsibility shifts depending on where you're going. So yeah, I thank you for touching on that. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is missing when it comes to gear and accessories designed for women? And you being in this sweet spot of holsters, you're on that thin line between the tactical gear, but also like fashion as well.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I don't know if I right now in this moment feel like anything's missing. That's a good question. I'll sit on that for a minute and come back to it if something pops in my head. I mean, aside from, no, because I would say something that feels smaller and easier to carry around, but truly you can't when it comes to a firearm. So I don't know. I'll think on that. It's a good question. What do you think is missing? I would love to hear if you think something is.
I think when we're thinking about creating clothing that integrates.
There you go. That's yeah.
Yes. Yeah. When I think about creating clothing that integrates these tools, we have to consider that, yes, the bulk of the proceeds that these manufacturers are making come from, military, law enforcement background folks. Mm-hmm. But I would love a series of clothing that features the off-duty person. Mm-hmm. That is more so geared towards the off-duty, but also the concealed carry lifestyle person who is a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, the everyday people that aren't necessarily trained or using a firearm on their person 24/7, right, but would like to do so in a neutral setting while also looking cute, right? Mm-hmm. So I appreciate when brands move beyond the camo and the flannel.
We're over black multicam. It's nice, but we don't. Yeah, to me, that actually makes you look like you possibly are carrying a gun.
Absolutely.
The pink, or not that it has to be pink, but I just spent like a really good chunk of time and then got to be part of this great launch with marsupial gear and this new concealed carry belt bag that came out. Okay. Paige Roy, she helped develop it. And I think that nobody was quite sure how this thing would take off. And it's been one of the most fun projects I've ever been part of, but it's all black. And then they came out with some tactical colors, but we're all kind of, the message is, everybody likes carrying these. It doesn't really look like it's anything but a fanny pack, but let's get away from the tactical colors. Let's make it even girlier, put a little leather on it, or I don't know. There's so many ideas in that realm that I think people are, I do agree with you on the side. I wasn't even thinking clothing, but man, so many things that could be a little more convenient for, carrying.
No, most definitely. And I think what I see with your site and everything, the whole process of purchasing a holster and the option to be able to choose the type of pattern, I've never seen that before. And I can't think of anyone else that is doing it at that degree as far as the customization. So I really appreciate that because it allows people to understand that, the concealed carry lifestyle is a new part of your identity,
Right.
but it's not necessarily you morphing into this, tactical, G.I. Jane. It's really an opportunity for you to showcase your personality and lifestyle and, favorite colors. I mean, like, I would love to see, I know this is completely random, like, people love pizza. Like, what about a holster with the pizza print all over it? Like, there's
we've done it.
Yeah. But when you have those moments where you're printing, or let's say your holster does reveal itself, it's a conversation piece of, oh wait, are those pieces?
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a gun.
I brought a few holsters since I'm doing this for my house, but I'll show you one of the prints that we, since we're talking about prints and what people like. Ooh. This one has been at the top of our sales for the last several months. And even my marketing team is laughing because they're like, nobody would have ever guessed this one. So I'm going to show you, hopefully you can see the print. We call it What the Cluck. And it is all chickens.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, and what is so funny is when you said chickens, I thought you meant like after it got cooked.
Like fried chicken, yeah.
I was like, that's interesting, but no, but that's computer.
We did not expect to sell out of this print as much as we have. And there are people out there that want chickens on their holsters. We're going to give it to them.
And I'm not mad at it.
We're going to give it to them. Yeah. Yeah.
It's better than people getting holsters and then they're going home and trying to put different stickers and stuff on it that like mess with the integrity of the holster.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we're talking about the printing and everything. Could you walk us through the testing and development process for your holsters?
Yes. So we, to bring a holster to life, we start with the actual gun. So right now we have 2 models that we're hoping to launch by the end of March, the FN Reflex and the Bodyguard 2.0. So we go off of a request list. And when we hear customers over and over and over asking for it, we then plan to do a new mold. So we start with 3D scan of the actual gun. So our all of the measurements and all the stuff that's coming in from the actual gun itself. And then we have an engineer that works with us, and he will create a file based on all the measurements of the gun. And then he'll start to lay it out the way that we know our holsters come. So we have holes down the front of them for all of our belt attachments. We're always taking into account somebody who would put an armor on their gun. So we're cutting away for that, leaving the bottom open so people can put suppressors or just easily wash the holster out. So we scan the gun, he does the CAD file, and then we make all of our molds out of aluminum. Aluminum, it is unchanging once we, I say we drill it, but it's a machine that does it. And then we can heat on the same mold repetitively. So we could make 100 holsters in a row and the aluminum will not warp. And that's really important for some of the things that we do, because we sometimes do orders 250 Glock 19s and we're just repeating over and over, and we don't ever want that to be different. So we're making sure from the very beginning of the holster that everything is specific to the gun down to, every tiny detail. And then we just make it a repetitive process. So aluminum allows that. Once we have our molds, we go through a pretty, sometimes it's smooth. Sometimes our engineer laughs because I'll send the molds back 4 times because we have a certain way it has to fit. So we, then we'll press it, we'll test it, and then it has to fit like a glove with the holster or with the gun. we test it. And once we approve it, then we release the mold out there. We do inside and outside the waistband, right and left-handed for all the models that we offer. And then we have variations of that. So we have our Molly B, which is a Velcro backed holster that goes in any Velcro lined bag. We have our standard inside the waistband, our outsides, we make paddle holsters. But because of the way we do our molding and then our pressing, and then we cut it all on CNC tables. And so everything is repeatable and should be identical every single time.
Okay.
And that process is what allows us to have the fastest turnaround in the industry for all custom prints, which I just love. The girl who had to wait 4 months for a holster, I said, no, it's never going to happen again. And so we built a whole company making sure that we are the fastest shippers with, you know, I mean, there are companies out there that will ship a holster immediately, but they're all black and there's nothing customizable. There's nothing unique. And so that's where we kind of made our own space in the industry. Everything ships in 3 business days or less. And it's fully customizable down to the color of washer, any attachment you want in any quantity. So we are so proud of the systems that we've put in place, our standards. We may say yes a little slower than other companies because when we bring a mold in, we're spending about $3,000 for that initial investment with everything that we do.
Understood.
But we want to make sure that people are actually going to get it. People ask for, because of all the lights that are on the market now too. I mean, the requests that we get are so all over the place, and you just can't make a holster for everything. So
Right.
yeah.
No, that is beautiful because you don't really notice how much time it goes into making a holster.
Yeah.
And so many people are starting holster companies, and it's really just them purchasing a whole bunch of Kydex holsters and putting it in their inventory.
Right.
For you to be able to justify, like, look, this is my product.
Mm-hmm.
We tested it, and I did not send it out to you until I got an okay. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the process of a holster in our shop will get pressed, trimmed on our CNCs. We have a polishing station where the edges just get, you know, kind of softened up, and then it goes out to assembly, and they're just building off of the individual invoice on a daily basis. But our final fitment goes to a table where all of the real guns sit. It's the only place in the shop that you'll see real guns, and every holster is touched by the final fitment person. A gun is put in and out. All the adjustments are made, cleaned, washed, put in a bag. And everything that leaves our shop has our lifetime guarantee on it. And I mean, it is a guarantee for anything for life. I never want to be the holster in the box of the holster, in the bottom of the holster box, which I've heard everybody has a holster box of, oh, I didn't like this one or hated this one. It's a lot of money. It's a big investment. And we take the risk away. We want you to love it. And if you don't, we just want it back. And we'll give you your money back. But well, I mean, we just genuinely want what is best for our customer. And if that ends up not being us, it's okay. We just, you know, so that's the company we've built, and we feel great about it. And when I made my first order for a holster, the one that I ended up canceling, the gentleman asked me what height I wanted my sweat guard. And the sweat guard is the back side of a holster.
Right.
I had no clue what it was. He gave me 3 options. And then I think it took me 3 days because I was so stressed about, well, what if I get the wrong height? I don't even know what height I would or wouldn't want. And it's going to take him 4 months. And what if I tell him the wrong height? Because I didn't know anything. So then I said, as we built this company, I'm never going to make them stressed out, or hopefully on our site. It's okay. You can change it. We'll change it. You want it higher, lower, the risk is removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because those are like technical questions.
They are. Yeah.
I'm like, well, I just want to carry. like, what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it one size fits all? And I know there's a whole lot of, technical things that go into making the right holster for the right person. So no, I definitely appreciate that. Because you mentioned before that there aren't a lot of options on the market, especially for on-body carry for those who are pregnant. But in the same regard, there should be some extensions on various, belts and things like that for those who are just, well endowed and
Right.
blessed.
That's right.
So,
More to love.
more to love.
We need a little extra. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about balance and safety, you guys are clearly the top holster company when it comes to compliance and safety and ensuring that people are getting what they ask for.
That's right.
So when it comes to concealed carry, how do you balance safety and style when you're considering, these different holsters with different prints and things of that nature?
Are you asking how do I balance for myself or what we consider when we're making things for customers?
Yeah, what do you consider when you're making things for customers? Because I can imagine, let's say a customer is looking at a lime green holster on your site, but they're wondering, how can I confidently conceal this? It's lime green and I want to wear all black tonight. Like,
Sure. Yeah. If somebody were to ask that specific question, and it depends on the holster that they're buying, I would definitely not recommend a lime green outside the waistband holster if you're not always covering it with a jacket or you're, in an area where people aren't going to mind. I think that most people that carry, for the most part, we all don't want anybody to know we're carrying. So the idea is that not is your holster going to show, but what are you doing in your outfits already to make sure that no holster would show, whether it would be black or anything, because truly what somebody's going to see is the grip of your gun. They're not going to see your holster because the way ours it sits right at the right height of your belt, of your belt line. And so you might see the very, very tip of a clip, the holster, the belt attachment. All of the rest of this is covered by a gun. Okay. So it's really, are you worried that somebody's going to see your gun? And that's how you're addressing to cover that. But when we make our prints now and we make our colors, we just think our customers have shown us that they want wild and funky and chickens. And we've done pizza, we've done bacon, we've done, it's endless and I love it. And we give them all the options that they might want. And so, yeah, then if they're asking for tips, we always will help them pick the holster that we think kind of better suits their lifestyle for what it is that they're telling us they want to do. So we can definitely help narrow it down. But I would say probably 80% of our customers are wearing inside the waistband. And a lot of them are having the wing attachment attached. So they're carrying appendix style. And that seems to be the way most of our customers are carrying and really finding it comfortable. So, well, comfort is not a word actually I like to use when you're carrying, because it's a metal object against your skin, but we do the best we can. Yeah.
No, thank you. I was sort of hinting at, where do your holsters lie on the body under the belt? Because I know it can be depending on, there are different tiers of types of holsters, and some people, I know your website is very detailed in how you present the holsters. So I know if you go into store, it looks like you need to go up 2 pant size depending on the thickness.
Yeah.
So thank you for breaking that down for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I know some people do say, oh, size up a little bit in your belt. I think that the belts now on the market, like the core essentials that we offer, has 1/4 inch increments that go up about this big. So you could even just have a big lunch and want to tuck your belt out just a little bit and not even worry about your holster. But back to the design of what we do, we make it, there's a paper thin distance between the Kydex and the gun all the way around, because the idea is that it kind of hovers in there. It's not rubbing against the slide or anything. And then it's completely locking in on the trigger. But aside from that, we make this be as minimal and slim as you possibly can with nothing extra unnecessary on it, because you have to consider that you're putting something this much bigger in your pants. And so we've done the best that we can to really minimize anything that's not necessary, to go around around the gun itself. Keep it safe, keep everything protected that needs to be with the least amount of buildup as possible.
No, I think that's really important because, like you said, you've been in the game for a long time. But when you think about how holsters have started out and evolved, they've gotten slimmer and slimmer.
They have, yeah.
A lot of they started out very bulky.
Yeah.
I know well, it wasn't 12 years ago when I got into carrying myself. It was around like 7 or 8, but there was still concern about, okay, if I'm going to buy a firearm, if I can't find a holster for it, then what's the point of me having it?
That's so true. Yeah. I mean, that's why my heart broke when I couldn't find a holster. I wanted to go to the range so bad. And I had first of all, I didn't think I would like it. And then I was giggling every time I was going to the range. And then I just couldn't understand why something would take 4 months. So not anymore.
Not anymore. We got 3 business days.
That's right. 3 business days or less. We'd like to surprise people.
So, when we're talking about holsters and aerodynamics and all the things, what are some of the must-know holster safety tips for women who are new to carrying?
Must-know holster safety tips. It should absolutely cover the trigger 100% on every single holster and gun. So there are holsters on the market that are marketed as though it will cover 50 different guns. I've seen them. It snaps the gun in really well, but the upper part of the trigger is showing. A rule in our shop, and I don't have a gun here for this one to put it through, but you will not see any daylight all the way around the trigger. So it should be completely covered. The holster also should be able to, with your gun loaded in it securely, you could tip it upside down and the gun's not going to come out. So those are two. Number one is the trigger has to be covered. Number two, it needs to be well made enough to where when you put your gun in there, you are solid that it's not going to come out. And then outside of that, just things to consider. The way the kydex is trimmed around it. And those are all just, personal things probably. But I mean, you don't want to get, I really would stay away from leather. It is a lot more comfortable. But I have seen time and time again, leather holsters, after them being worn multiple times, the leather doesn't stay sturdy. And the more, it
expands.
No, it's just scary. So yeah, it is. I understand comfort. I understand wanting to feel that way, but you really are you're in charge of something that is very, very lethal when used, in the wrong way. And yeah, so I also see things on the market now, running pants and, even some of these concealed carry belt bags where there's no kydex. The trigger should be covered by kydex. So you can carry a gun in a bag, but the trigger needs to be completely covered with kydex, even if it's just a small trigger guard, because nobody can poke through it. You cannot, there's no way for me to get to that trigger. There's nothing that can get in there. So if that's covered, that's a safety 101. So.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Because I get countless images a day of the inside of purses.
Yeah.
And I have to really explain to clients or just followers in general, like if that lip gloss decided to do a somersault in your purse, do you think it would end up in that trigger guard?
Right.
And usually the answer is yes. Because even though I might, I say if do a somersault and you end up in a trigger guard, it happens. You grab your lip gloss, you drop it in the purse. It's going to find its way because the lip gloss, the diameter of it is about the size of a finger.
A finger, yeah. And those are typically in a purse together.
Yes.
So yeah, or a pen. So many things. And you could play the what if scenario all day. That's what we should do. What if? And so then what can you do to make sure that just eliminate that from even being an issue?
Yes.
When I was first learning about guns, my husband was a firearms instructor for years and years and years. And he talked about the ammo fairy or the bullet fairy. He's like, you never know. You turn around and you don't check your gun and you don't know if a bullet, you have to pretend Or put it yourself in a world that you're always making sure, is the gun safe? Is it unloaded? If you are handed a gun by somebody else, don't ever feel bad to check it, to do all the steps that you need to know. Because countless times we've heard people say to us, oh, don't worry, my gun is unloaded. We have an absolute, first, we don't really want customers bringing their guns in, but if they do, you have to turn it over to somebody on our floor and we check it personally. And there have been multiple times where people have had ammo in their gun.
Yes.
So don't feel bad to triple check. The purse fairies and the ammo fairies, they're out there.
So when you're thinking about choosing the right holster, what do you think women should look for when choosing for everyday carry?
Well, first would be, are you intending to carry it inside the waist? I think that's probably people's first decision.
Yes.
Am I going to be wearing a belt? Typically, if it's outside the waistband, you're going to be wearing a belt when you're carrying it.
Mm-hmm.
They are all a little bit bigger and they require more structure on the waistline, and they all need some kind of a belt. So are you trying to go inside the waistband or outside? If it is inside the waistband, then the discussion is, what position of the body are you wanting to carry it on? And it's okay if you don't know. The holster can be worn in any position, from directly in front of you all the way to around to the small of your back. The same holster, same setup, same holster, without the wing. And then you could just adjust it all day long and see where you might like it. You know, some people like it like right on the kidney. Some people want it on their hip. Some people are very comfortable appendix. There is no right or wrong. What's the only right and wrong is practice drawing, keep your finger off the trigger, make sure you're not scanning your own body when you're drawing, but wherever you find that to be comfortable, that's great. And then we can put accessories on it afterwards, after you feel like, oh yeah, this is a good spot for me. There's 3 different belt attachments that we offer: the Ulti-Clip and the monoblock. And we're not the only ones that offer these. These are attachments that are super popular across the whole gun industry and holster makers. So these might just sound familiar words to anybody listening. Find a company who has them, but they're great. So the Ulti-Clip was the first clip designed for beltless carry. So it looks like a suspenders clip almost. Mm-hmm. And your pants go right under here.
And it has a little teeth in it.
Yep. And this snaps down and this will not move off of your body. This can go onto leggings, jeans, basketball shorts, anything. That I just tell people, your pants have to be sturdy enough to hold up the weight of a gun.
Okay.
So if you're wearing your favorite yoga pants that you've had for 10 years, most likely they're not gonna, the waistband won't be strong enough. But we all like joggers with a tie.
Yes.
So you still have to like, yes, it's cool because you can wear it in leggings, but you still have to have stronger pants.
So that's a taut waistline. Yeah.
Yep. Leggings where they have the double stitch at the top and it's kind of like a rim all the way. Those are great. And you can totally carry and draw with it because it's going to stay in place. Okay. So these are the things I walk people through. Okay, well, now we're going to carry inside the waistband. Do you always wear a belt? That's our very first question. And most men and women say no. And so then we go from there. Ulti-Clip or the DCC monoblock, which is this one. I love this because it has 2 legs that they move independently of each other. So something is always touching the face of the holster, no matter how you move. This works with or without a belt. So it can go, loop over a belt, or you can just put it right on your waistband and that holds just as firm. So these are all, there's a lot of really good options out there, but I would say that these 2 attachments are so trusted across the industry. And I have so much respect for both companies that design these, thinking outside the box. That's what we have to do. Think outside the box.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today, especially since it's Women's History Month. I am so honored to be able to.
I'm honored to
highlight what you're doing with Eclipse Holsters. So what does Women's History Month mean to you as a female entrepreneur in this space?
Well, I come from a beautiful family of women who have all crafted their way in some way or another. I mean, dreamers and creators and life breathers. And so to have a month where we all celebrate each other is pretty exciting. I think I guess I could be called an innovator. I guess I never stopped to think about that actually applies to myself as well. But I just feel so proud to be sharing a space with so many incredible women. And because of this month, and because everybody's looking to find and build relationships, is how we got to meet and how we're going to start, growing together. So I love it. I'm honored to be part of not only this industry, but just our shop and just what we've created in Eclipse and in Holster Builder and this our little world that we have. I love it. I'm so proud to be part of it. So,
and since we're just talking about that, my last question: what advice do you have for women looking to start their own business in firearms or self-defense?
My advice to anybody looking to start is just, don't quit. Mm-hmm. Don't quit because of imposter syndrome. It's so common for people who are out there paving the way and creating new things. You never feel like you fit. You feel like you don't belong. There's always, somebody. No, you're so important. We need you. We need all the little things that you're about to create. There are so many days that are terrifying and overwhelming, and you don't feel any reward for what you're doing, but don't quit. Don't give up on yourself. Don't quit. We need you. There's a lot of really good women out here that are ready to, talk you through whatever your biggest hurdle is today. I am going to have somebody else talk me through the next big thing. So find the community, reach out to your community, be real, be honest. Social media is not honest. Be honest with the people who love you and support you, and just keep going. And create us some clothes. We have some needs.
Yeah. You said what?
I said, create us some clothes. We have needs now in this industry.
Well, thank you for that call to action. Yes. So is there anything else you want everyone watching today to take away from this conversation? Where can they find you online? How can they support you?
Thank you. Find us on eclipseholsters.com. We are on all social media channels. If you are interested to see a holster from start to finish, I recently shared like a 14-minute YouTube video on our channel, and it takes you through our entire process. We don't hide anything. And I think people have really enjoyed watching it. So look for that. Eclipseholsters.com. info@eclipseholsters.com is our email, and we love to answer questions and help. It doesn't have to be a scary, daunting thing to go out and try to purchase a holster. We will help you in any way we can. We love interacting with people. So please message us. Let us know that you saw this live. We are going to be looking for somebody to give a holster away to. So we are social on our social media. You're going to see our family, our homes, behind the scenes, all kinds of stuff. There's just real people who get to make really cool holsters.
Oh, this is perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I do have a bonus. I'm going to sneak one in here. Okay. What is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
Oh gosh, you threw this one. Yeah. Something I know now that I wish I knew when I started.
I didn't forget the one we put on in the beginning.
Okay. Yeah. I think just even to like everything changes so quickly, to let it go. Just let it go. We have a saying that Joseph and I say, Getmo, good enough to move on. It's just, there's nothing there's no perfection. There's no, and this is something I knew back then that I still know today. Kindness always wins. Mm. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to have made a mistake. I wish I knew that. I stressed out about mistakes. but it's evolving. It's just I was such a perfectionist, and I felt like I was the only person that could do it, that I didn't let go for a really long time. And when I let go is when we had growth. And we have almost 15 employees now. And I mean, it's a whole different world, and it is not, I rarely make a holster. So let it go, but kindness. I knew that then, and I know it now, and I still say it wins. So
you definitely won me over. So yes. Well, thank you so much, Jessica. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing your story and insights. Yeah. It's inspiring to see more women stepping up in this space, and I can't wait to see what's next for Gales Futuristic Fire and Eclipse Holsters. Those of you in the audience, don't forget, we're giving away a custom holster and magazine pouch set. So to enter, you make sure you like, comment, and share the original Instagram, and then make sure that you leave a comment in the live. Let us know what you think about this live experience. Give us feedback about, whether or not you'd like to see more people on this experience, whether it be like more interviews, whether it be, just give us some feedback in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you learned. Let us know what you didn't know before you came on this live. And remember, if you really want to get a holster before we even figure out and announce who we're giving away the holsters to, you can grab one for yourself at eclipseholsters.com, correct? I can't hear you. Correct? Okay. All right. Yes. All right. And of course, you can follow at Eclipse Holsters and at Gales Futuristic Fire to stay tuned for more information. All right. We'll see you guys on March 31st. We have some great things in store. Thank you.